Hi guys, so today's video is going to be about how do you know when it's your calling to move on. It is something that can be so unpredictable, but predictable at the same time because you might not be ready to move on, but deep down inside you know that your time to move on is coming. And that can be for your career, that can be for your dream job, that can be for a better job, compared to the job that you have right now. If you want to transition to something better, something more special, something more comfortable and adaptable for your mind and your spirit and your soul and your body, how to know it's your time to move on. That's probably going to be the title of the video. But this is to help you. It's not to make you stressed. And I know change can be hard and difficult, but sometimes it just happens. Sometimes change just happens and you have to adapt to it. You have to find a way to be resilient and perseverant. And yeah, so how to know it's your time to move on, and that can be applicable for jobs as well, as mostly jobs, as I mentioned, because if you do a job that you're tolerating, meaning a job that you're doing because you can't find any other job at the moment because it's hard in the job market, I understand, like I literally understand. But if you're doing a job and it's not your dream job, and it's taking a toll on your mental health or your body and your health and mental health, then that can be a factor and an indicator that it's time for you to move on as soon as possible. And for the moment, you can persevere and keep staying in that job until you find something better. I'm not saying like you have to go immediately to something else, but deep down inside, it's telling you that this is probably just temporarily and there's something better for you, like a new adventure, a new something, a new thing to explore. And it makes you stressed and nervous. Trust and believe me, girl, I am stressed and nervous. I would be stressed and nervous to do a new transition because your body, your soul is comfortable at things that are like the usual that you do every day. Because when there's something new, when something changes drastically as a job, that can impact your mental, that can impact your physical body and your financial situation. Because that job may have certain benefits that other job may not like give as much, you know? So, with all being said, how's your time to move on? When you are mentally affected in a negative way, like you're depressed, you cry before freaking clocking in. Not every day you cry, but you cry often, as normally you don't cry, but like you cry often having that job. You probably had another job in the past, but the job that you're doing now, you're crying your eyes out before clocking in. Like, I can relate with that. Trust and believe me, I can relate with crying before clocking in. And I can relate with crying when I'm clocked in, but I don't let people see it. But like, I'm crying before going to my job, and then I'm crying after my job. Not all the time, but most of the time. Like, you know, it's occurring mostly more than once, and that means that deep down inside, something is affecting you emotionally, and you shouldn't ignore your emotions. Your emotions are a guide for you to go where you're supposed to go. You can't really control your emotions. You can, but your emotions are your emotions. If someone takes your best food and you're hungry and you're mad at them and you're sad and you're depressed, your emotions are just telling you, I'm hungry and somebody took my food and I'm upset and I'm mad about it and I'm sad because now what am I going to eat? Right? I can eat something else, of course, but I'm going to eat something that makes me not happy. So now I'm mad and sad and upset. And some people are just one dimensional emotions, but emotions are most of the time multi-dimensional, meaning you can feel many emotions depending on the situation that you're facing. Because that can take a pact on your mental and your spirit and your soul, as I said before. And yeah, so time to move on is when you're crying before clocking in and crying before clocking out, if you know what I mean, right? And you're crying because you know deep down that's not what you want to do forever. Like, let's be for real. You can do your dream job, but you can always transition to something better. But there's many reasons why people change their jobs and whatever. It can be the people around them, it can be the environment, it can be the benefits that is not being provided. It can be the unfair treatment that they receive from other people for some reason, from other people around them, like from people around you. Like, it can be your boss, your manager, whatever. It can be your colleagues, your employees, whatever, people that work with you. It can be that like it's just taking a toll on your financial because let's say you have to take a bus transportation because you don't have a car. Not everyone has that situation, but let's say like for you to arrive early, you have to pay money because the bus don't arrive often, so you're late. Or you just it's just a job in general, the task that's taking a toll on your body, and you're like, I don't want to do this, because when you do this, you're stressed out, but you manage to work for months and years with that job. But it's just something you don't want to do forever, and you start crying. Don't ignore those things. And I'm not saying just because you cry, just because you're sad in your job, that it's time for you to move on without no plan. Some people move on without backup plan, but then they eventually find something else. But just to be more comfortable and secure, just have a freaking backup plan if you can afford that option. So, time for you to move on when you cry, when you're emotionally stressed out, when you're sad, when you're depressed, when you feel like you don't know who you are anymore, like straight up. And when I say when you don't know who you are anymore, I mean like you know who you are, but you're like, why am I here? Like, what did I do to be in this environment? What did I do? Like, what am I gonna be working this thing forever? Like, I'm much more than this, you know? Especially minimum wage as well. But sometimes it's, even if you get paid well, it's the stress, the mental impact it does to you is not even worth it, because health is wealth and mental health is also wealth. If you are not healthy, that can really affect the way you do your job performance. That can affect you gaining other jobs, because some jobs require you to do physical movement and to move around or to have critical thinking. If you are affected negatively on your mind or your body, that can like really affect your opportunities. So that's why you have to move on when it's time to move on. So ways to know that it's time for you to move on is that you no longer match the people around you. You start looking more pretty as a woman. You start dressing more pretty as a woman. You start being more organized. Let's say if you're a person that was not organized, you start being more organized. You start trying to focus more on where you put your things more than before. Like, you start focusing on everything that you do. You smell good, look good. You make sure that you are polished more than usual. That is a sign that it's time for you to move on, because you want something better deep down. You might not say to people, but people can feel something changing in you every day, because deep down inside, yeah, you might interact with people in a positive note, but there's something that's, they know, they feel it, you feel it, that there's something out there for you. You might not know when it's time for it to be there for you, but it's there for you. It's prepared for the way that you are changing in that environment. Yes. So it can be the people around you that don't match your energy. You're pretty, you're gorgeous, and you make yourself look more pretty. And the people where you're working at, they're just focused on doing their job, and that's it. They don't care about looking amazing. And every time you look good, they ask you questions like, who are you looking good for? Or what's going on? When it's something normal, honestly, to look good and pretty, it's something normal. But in certain jobs, if it doesn't match the job work that you're doing, some people might have a problem with it, and that's not okay. But some people might have a problem with you not matching the job environment. Like, you're too pretty, you're too gorgeous, why are you here? But you don't have to explain to them why you're here. You're obviously here to get paid. You're obviously here to sustain your freaking situation, to pay your whatever you have to pay, or just to, provide for yourself, you know So, time for you to move on. Signs. You're emotionally distressed. People around you can't match your energy. They might not tell you, but you know that they can't match your energy based on how they treat you and based how they react around you. Based on what they say about you and based on how they treat you, you can tell that they don't match your energy. I had a girl, I don't want to say she's jealous, but I had a girl assume and say verbally that I have an easy life. I have an easy life, but yeah, I'm still working the job that you're working. So where's the easy life? you know? So that's signs that it's time for you to move on. I might do a part two. But I know what it is to be emotionally distressed. I know what it is to cry your eyes out in a job and you're like, why am I here? Like, what did I do to be in this predicament? Am I going to do this forever? Because deep down, like, yeah, you can do this forever, but there's some jobs where it's like your body won't be able to do this forever. And if you do that forever and you don't listen to your body, you might have more stress and tension, physical pain on your body. You know what I mean? Where I work, there's people that are older than me. And it's okay to be old. It's okay to be young. But when you're young, people expect you to do extra hard work. But that can take a toll on your mental health and your body as well over time. But your mental health can be affected more faster than your body. You know why? Because when you're young, yeah, it's true that you can have more energy. But even people who are young, depending on the work that you do, you can feel so drained out of work, and during work, you can feel so drained. Like you have no energy. You can't even move. There's a job that I do. Everyone's job is different. Yeah, everyone can get tired because you're in a job, right? But it's taking a toll on your mental health, on your body, and nobody notice it, but you notice it. So imagine doing that for months, days, months and days. You cry your eyes out, and it's like nobody can hear you, nobody can see you cry. They only see when you just show up glamorous. And they wonder why you make yourself glamorous in a job that's so, you know, where you have to do so much work. But it's like, it's just you. It's just you. You make yourself glamorous because you're a freaking grown woman, or you're beautiful, you're gorgeous. You make yourself glammed for many reasons. You just want to feel happy. You just want to treat yourself right. With all the work that you're doing, you deserve to reward yourself, to treat yourself right with all the freaking stress and tension that you are enduring in that freaking job or environment. And sometimes it's not even the people, sometimes it's just the job itself, the task that you have to do every freaking day. And it's just taking a drain on your spirit, your body. This is why certain jobs you do, you get home, you can't even move. You can move, but you can't even move. Like, you know, you can get up and start moving to your room, to your kitchen, to your kitchen, to your room. But in your mind, your body is just like, I'm gonna sit here and I can sit here for hours and just sit and do nothing. You know why? Because you're drained. You're drained. And that's draining you over time. Is you're drained. Yeah, you can have days off, but you're drained because your body knows, your mind knows, oh, I'm gonna have to go back again and do the same thing over and over and over again. And the same pain that I felt yesterday is the same pain I'm gonna feel today when I do this job. And some people want higher pay because it helps them feel better and it helps them have an easier life, easier situation. It helps them spoil themselves. I would tell people, spoil yourself, of course. If you're doing a job or whatever, just spoil yourself. Spoil yourself is a way to love yourself, with all the freaking stress, the freaking negativity you had to endure to your body, to your soul. That's how you know it's time to move on. When you cry in your job, or you cry before your job often. Or you cry just like that, without someone saying anything to you. You just cry your eyes out. Because deep down inside, you are not matching that environment. It's not to say you're not qualified for where you are, but it's just that you want something better. You're not desperate, but you want something better. You don't want to do this forever. If someone came up to you and gave you the exact opportunity you ever wanted, you would take that. You would take that. But of course, you would be hesitant and nervous. This is why sometimes people can be stuck in a job temporarily and they have another opportunity, but they're hesitant to take it because their job provides them stability, comfortability, but it gives them pain at the same time. But they're just used to what's comfortable to them, even if it's hurting them. There's things you can be comfortable to, but it hurts you. Have you ever thought of addiction? There's people that have addiction. They're comfortable to it in a sense, like that's what they do often because they're addicted to it. So when you take away their addiction, whatever they're addicted to, it can be like prescriptions, just medical things, like food. Whenever you take something that can be harming them on the long run, it feels like it's harming them. They're like, how would I function without it? But it would help them. So that's why sometimes you do a freaking job and you get a new opportunity, you're hesitant to take it. You're like, I'm gonna keep waiting. But then you get more pain in your body, more pain in your mind. In your mind, you can kind of tolerate the pain. Low-key, you can. I do it. I don't look like I do it. I don't look like I go through hard struggle, do I? But I do. I do. I just prefer not to show it to people. Sometimes you can not show it to people, but sometimes even if you don't show it to people, people can see it in a way that you're just minding your business. The way you just sit there and do nothing and you're just so soaked in the peace and silence. So that's how you know it's time to move on. Because you're crying your eyes out, you're emotionally distressed. You're wondering, like, your value. Like, what is your value? Like, am I going to work this forever? And what if I can't work this forever? That's the thing. Your body can only endure so much until it's like, I don't want to do this no more. It can be the mind, the body, or both. The mind and the body don't want to do it no more, even if you're getting paid. But you can apply this to other things, how you know it's time to move on. Like the environment, the people around you, what people say to you, the way people treat you. Don't let it get over your head when people are like, you have an easy life. And they tell you that randomly. And they're like, you're rich, you have a lot of money. It's like, okay, and? And? Okay, let's say if I was rich. Why don't you think about my mental health? Why don't you think about how I was affected to be rich? You know what I'm saying? But like, whatever. So it's time for you to move on. So search for new jobs, search for new opportunities. I know it's something so hesitant and nervous to do. Search for new things, girl. I'm freaking nervous. I don't know. Like, and I know people are so comfortable doing the things that they're doing, and that's fine. That's okay. The job market is hard. But just know the value inside yourself. And no matter what you do, let's say if you did a job transition and then you kind of regret it, just be like, think about what was the reason that made you leave that job. And you know what? You can always find something better. And endure. If you had the same resilience at doing something you didn't like, take that resilience to do something else that maybe you might not like. And it's not that you're trying to give yourself more problems, but it's just that you want a way freaking out to have peace. And when I say way out, I mean in terms of happiness, joy, satisfaction, a better success for yourself. So that's how you know it's time to move on. Deep down inside. You might say it's not time to move on, of course, because you're nervous to transition. You're nervous if the other job is going to give you harder tasks to do. And if you don't know if you're going to match that. And if the people around you is going to be mean. And like, when you go for a new job, you think about a lot of things. It's normal because it's a new environment. Like, how are the people over there? Who can I talk to? If I'm not feeling well, who do I call? You know, like, what are the benefits? What are things they provide to me? What are the things they offer to me? Like, those are things that are helpful. But some jobs can have benefits. And it's just like, you're like, I don't want to do this no more. Because it's not my dream job, it's not my career, it's taking a pain on my back. And it's stressful in a sense because you have to do it in a timely manner. You don't have all the time in the world to do that task. You have to do it in a specific time and finish kind of at a specific time. And if you don't finish at a specific time, you're going to get chastised. You're going to get people talking bad to you and saying, hey, this is not for you. Or you're going to be in trouble by your manager, your supervisor, whatever. And that's going to annoy you even more because you just put yourself through a next level situation that you would never want to put yourself through, but it just happens. So that's how you know it's time to move on. When you don't match your environment, you don't match the people around. You're too pretty. You're too gorgeous. You're too smart. If you really tapped in the real you, I'm not saying you're being fake, but some people are being fake, but if you tap in the real you, it happens when there's a reason why they say there's job code switching. I don't know if that's the actual term, but you job code switch, meaning when you are in your job, you're more professional. You can be professional and be yourself as well, but some people, it's like, I'm not gonna say they dim their light, but they don't really brighten their light, if that makes sense. They don't amplify their light. They keep it a little bit stagnant. And that's because it's time for you to move on. That's because if you really amplify your light, if you really amplify your value, who you are, you're smart, your intelligence, your talent, your skills, people around you, the same people that you see like almost every day when you clock in, when you clock out, whatever, people around you that are familiar with you or happens to speak to you or see you, whatever, some of them will treat you wrong or they'll treat you in a way because they feel like it's a threat, but it shouldn't be a threat. And you just want better for yourself. That shouldn't be a threat for somebody else. You just want better for yourself. and they will be like, and then they'll wait for you to do a mistake for them to give you a bad situation. This is why some people, they don't amplify their light in certain environments, because the minute they do, here comes the criticism. Here comes the, you have a better life. You're rich. You're rich. You have a better life. But we're still at the same job. What are you talking about? you think like if I was rich, I would still be here? No. Enduring this thing? You think if I was rich, I would still endure this freaking thing, doing this task that's taking a pain on my body? Like, you think I would do this? Yeah, I'm young, I'm strong, like, it's another day, it's the next day to recover, to not feel pain. But it's just, okay, yeah, you can relax, you can go home and you don't feel pain and you rest, right? But the next day, you're gonna have to do that same thing that you did yesterday. And do you like doing that? Do you like doing that? No, you don't. Majority of the time, you don't. That's why you know it's time to move on. But you don't tell people, because if you tell them people, they will try to give you problems. So you just move on in silence. You tell people you trust, but you trust yourself. You rather trust yourself than trust other people, because you know who you are and you know what you feel and you know your emotions are real. That's how you know it's time to move on. You don't match the people around you. You have ambition. You have dreams. People can tell. People can see it, even if you don't tell them. The way you dress up, the way you show up, the way you're more polished than before, the way you're actually trying harder than before, people can tell that you are better than that environment. I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. Sometimes you'll be in certain places and you know there's people that are, I'm not gonna say they're better than everyone, but the way they carry themselves, you know that they deserve better. They deserve better. They deserve better. For real. For real. People tell me I'm young. I'm very young. Yes, I'm very young. Whenever people, speak to me, they're like, you're young. They say it randomly too. And I know, because it's like, what is this young girl doing here? And it's like, well, you think if I had a better option, I would still be here? Like, I like, no offense, like, I have nothing bad against you, but I want something better for myself. So this is why you feel drained after work. And during work, you feel drained. You feel sad, depressed. Like, there's certain things that can trigger your depression. Job, people around you, what they say to you, words that they say to you unprovoked. You have an easy life. Oh, boo-boo. You okay. Like, you telling me I have an easy life is like you're trying to disregard everything I ever endured in that freaking environment. Like, that's unjust. That's uncool. Of course, I would like to have an easy life. Everybody would like to have an easy life. You can do things to have an easy life. In a type of way, not 100%. Because life is life. Life happens. Life happens, But yeah, it's time for you to move on. I might do a part 2, but you feel emotionally distressed, you feel sad, you feel depressed, you want to be more polished, you make yourself more polished, your energy is drained, you get home, you sit down, you feel like doing nothing, like you want to do something, but you just don't have energy, and you feel like sleeping. Or if you don't feel like sleeping, you just feel like sitting in a chair for the whole entire day, and that's not normal. It's normal, but it's not normal, because your body is tired. Of course, it's not going to want to do physical activities, but you're just sitting there in the chair instead of working on your skincare. Yeah, of course you do. But like, you just sit there, and all that time that you spent sitting doing nothing, you could have made yourself feel or look better. So that's how you know it's time to move on. It's time to move on. And you're going to have what you want. You're going to have the resilience to do something better. It might not be your dream job, but as long as you can escape that thing that's holding you back, you're good. In a type of way. So I hope you just feel. Bye.